Well, it happened to me. I was victim blamed. The patriarchy, your, you know, humble narrator through this experience of life that I'm going through. I'm narrating my own subjective experience, I suppose. I think Werner Herzog said something on an interview I heard where he talked about that, you try to find some kind of meaning or deeper understanding of your life to give it meaning in an otherwise hopeless and meaningless existence, right? Which is typical Werner Herzog stuff, right? A very loving, uh, passionate human being, but he understands reality and the dread of humanity that your own being, your own consciousness, everything about you will one day be over. But while you're here, what gives you meaning, right? What drives you day to day? Um, well, what is humanity? What are you, right? These are what everyone goes through. We all share this universally. Today I'm going to break down for you using my victim blaming experience, which just happened to me, where I was attacked recently on social media just the other day by an old friend of mine. Okay, so this is a personal story. This is analytical. This is not any kind of factual evidence or truth. This is me though explaining to people the difference between a social justice warrior and somebody who just cares about social justice issues and is a good person, right? Who just is against racism and stuff like that, and bigotry, versus somebody that we call a social justice warrior. Because recently I had an argument a couple days ago with somebody on one of my YouTube videos, right? And this person came in very attacking, was upset about a comment or two I made in the video. Then we had a conversation. We came to a reasonable middle ground, and we had a very nice conversation, right? That's how most situations should play out between good people, two good people. We didn't fight. We didn't call each other names. We talked. I came back and talked to this person, and they saw I did that, so they replied to me. We respected each other on that level, and then we were able to come to a conclusion. We got more context and understanding of each other's points of views. That was great. Then I thought, wow, social justice warrior thing, because I was saying SJW, right? I was referring to things as SJW. And this person was telling me that it was a loaded term, right? And that I shouldn't overuse it all the time because it creates a negative stigma to people who actually care about issues, serious issues. And I thought, that person may have a point, right? So I was like, I'm no longer gonna just keep throwing out social justice warrior all the time, right? I have to be a little bit more reasonable with it. I can't just call anyone that, even though to me I know the difference. I don't just say it to anyone. I'm talking about specific group of people or specific persons I'm referring to. Like if I'm talking about Cenk from the Young Turks, he's a social justice warrior. I mean him 100%. I wouldn't say that about somebody who's out trying to help people who are dealing with racism or brutality, or people who are trying to help rape victims, people out there actually working and helping people. I wouldn't just say that about them. I would say it about someone like him who has media power, control, and goes on and says things with an agenda, and is just spreading rhetoric and completely emotional, angry, hateful views of things, and then hypocritically acts like they're a good person when all they do is aggressive, mean things all the time. Yet they act like they're trying to have conversations and be nice to people all the time. That's a social justice warrior, right? But let's use examples here. Let's break it down because I was re-inspired. I was reinvigorated to attack the social justice warrior because I was victim blamed yesterday. I had one of those moments. You've heard about it from a lot of the websites from that there is this thing where people won't listen to victims of abuse. Now, this is not something to not take seriously. I don't mock this. I'm not mocking that. If somebody comes and says they've been abused by someone, you should take that seriously. You should not laugh that off or think they're lying. So, anytime that somebody blames someone else when they come and say they were attacked or something, you really need to go find the truth out first before you come to that assumption. That's not cool. I don't think most good people do that, but it does happen. I've seen it happen, and it happened to me yesterday. Well, it was yesterday, it was probably a couple days ago. But here's what happened, right? My old friend, let's call him Seth. Seth is the SJW, right? That's Seth. He's the SJW. I will be in this example, Bill, the asshole. Bill is in this storyline. the asshole, and the good person, well, not the protagonist, but the good person in the story, right? The one that's heroic, and we're going to call social justice warrior, is Seth. So we're going to make Seth the good guy in this story, right? That's the viewpoint. He's a social justice warrior, and Bill's the asshole. I am Bill. Okay, something is shared on a huge social media platform. Everyone's looking at it. Big comments, right? Bill leaves a comment about this reply to this. The idea was that feminists complaining about women getting abused, getting hit, but then being allowed to hit men and aggress them was okay because it wasn't really that big of a deal, and men were trying to. It's that typical argument, which is one of my most hated ones, perhaps my most hated one from social justice warriors, is that every time you criticize a group like Black Lives Matter or someone who's a feminist or anything that you think is bullshit, like if you say all lives matter, Black Lives Matter, their argument always is that you're trying to cover up their centric focus on that. They're focusing on that issue of oppressed group, and you coming in with that is only because you're upset. And they use these examples to show that, and they say that you're just trying to cover that up. They don't get that you're just mocking how dumb their group is and criticize. You're not actually trying to take over that statement. You're trying to give a different perspective and explain something. Like when this meme came up and said that, I said in my reply to this was quite simply, I was at a bar before, right? And when I was at this bar, I got in an argument with a girl that was a friend of mine. One point, she didn't like something I said, but I will tell you right now, I didn't say anything illegal. We just had a disagreement on someone. I was smacked in the head, right? That is bar. That is against the law. That is so you can't just hit someone, right? So I put my hands up to my face. She goes to hit me a couple times. The bouncer comes over and says, they're saying we're causing the scene. I am asked to leave. She gets to stay in the bar. So I brought up this example and said that people will white knight. There's a double standard. And I said if I had hit the girl in the bar, I would have been taken down and had my ass kicked immediately. I think this was a fair example, and I was saying that I think the meme was hinting at that uh, they don't want to talk about it, but they sometimes some of these feminists act like women are allowed to be aggressive towards men because women are weaker, and that's inherently true. Women are naturally weaker than most men, right? But they're saying that because of that, women should be allowed to hit men. That's basically what this meme was saying, and I was like, well, that's bullshit. That's ridiculous. Assault's assault. Bar's bar. Those things are against the law. You shouldn't hit someone just because you're upset with them. That's ridiculous. I don't know. That's not even something to have a discussion. If you're uncomfortable with how somebody touches you, that's not cool. Okay, they're not allowed to touch you in ways you don't want to be touched. I think that's universal for everyone. I don't know. I didn't know that was exclusive to women. Anyway, the first comment is from a man who says, maybe you were just being an asshole, right? So I said, perhaps in the conversation, but I don't have to explain myself being an asshole. It's against the law to do that. I was just explaining that I was hit. She should have been the one taken out, or at least both of us should have been taken out, maybe. But I shouldn't be taken out, and then she gets stay. Well, then this turned into a big argument, right? And the argument made no sense from the social justice warrior, the Seth point of view, right? Because it was a group of people, except for a couple women, mind you. Women were on my side, but the men were all aggressively going after me. These are the social justice warriors. They're aggressively going after me, right? Seth, it's like, die, die, die. They keep telling me that I'm part of the problem because that woman wasn't actually threatening me physically, right? Her hitting me didn't actually harm me. It doesn't matter if a woman hits me because I'm actually not in fear for my life. And women that are actually abused and get hit are in fear for their life and hurt. So by me bringing up my point, I'm part of the problem because I'm just making it about me and I don't care about the women who get abused. Instead of the way I saw it, where I think of us as a collective and we need to help each other, but they see it as women are so different that laws and my comfort doesn't matter. Okay. All right. So the social justice warrior, this keeps going back and forth. So I bring up, I say, well, isn't this the victim blaming thing you guys talk about all the time? Because these group of people, these friends of mine, and the one friend, the Seth, I had known for years, right? They always bring up fighting for equality, gay rights, blacks, everything. They're for everything, right? They're for all the groups, the left, I mean, they loved Bernie, they love the Young Turks, they love this, that, whatever. I don't care what people like or don't like as long as you don't push your shit on me, right? They're just people. But we were all friends, and we'd all made fucked up jokes and said things that were way worse than anything I was saying. But I said, you guys are basically victim blaming because this is like that stereotype they make up that I rarely see where they say the girl got raped because she wore a dress or something. You're blaming the girl for getting raped because she looked slutty or something. That's what you were telling me. You're like, so I can't be, I have to be a nice guy all the time because if I get hit, it's my fault. That's the logic. Okay. So we kept having this discussion. Then there was a bunch of mocking about how it was going to be enjoyable to block people on this thread. And I thought he was referring to, this is the point, my friend Seth, I thought he was referring to the people that were arguing with me, because I thought, well, yeah, of course you're going to block. These people are making idiotic statements. They're okay with abuse. So, and then I brought up that I used to be in a relationship with the girl for a couple of years, 3 years almost actually, where I was abused a lot, very harshly physically. She used to hit me in the neck a lot. She used to punch me. She used to hit me all the time, and it would hurt a lot. She had a big ring, with like diamonds that we had an engagement ring at one point. She used to punch me in the neck sometimes, and it was we're not together anymore, and things. But I moved on. But at the time, it didn't hit me that it was very abusive. And it did hurt, and I didn't like it, and I never did anything. I never hit her back because I had that thing in my head where I was like, well, she's a woman, I can't do this. And I had to go to the hospital at some point to get my neck looked at because I had all these fucking bruises, and I didn't. I mean, it was very difficult at the time. It was a very tough situation. She had a lot of anger issues, and she had some tough things going on, and she would take them out on me. We'd get in fights. We'd have yelling match. We'd yell at each other sometimes. We'd have a fight, typical fights that most people have. But I never did anything physical. But she would definitely think it was okay to hit me, if she was mad enough. That was definitely the understanding in our relationship, right? I bring this up. I'm like, well, that happened to me. You're telling me that men can't be abused because the argument at this point is that I wasn't man enough to walk away from the situation. I should have walked away, handled it cool like a man, and it was my fault. That was the point I come to, that I must be such an anti-feminist, such a non-social justice warrior. That was where the discussion had gone into at this point. That I was so full of shit that, basically they were saying that I had imagined these things being the way they were. This didn't happen. So then I told them something very private, that I'd been abused. It's something I don't tell a lot of people. Now I'm telling the internet. But I told them, and then I was the one who was blocked. And everyone, I lost like 6, 7, 8 friends on all my accounts, on my Twitters and my Facebooks and all that. Everyone just like fucking dropped me. And it was all because I was saying that men get abused too. And that made me the bad guy. See, people, that's social justice warriors. Okay? It's that simple. Here's Seth the SJW. Here's Bill the asshole. There's a great Patton Oswalt built from his Netflix special, last this year. Yeah, I think this year, where he talks about, people learning, the vernacular, the way to speak with these complex terms now, right? There's the guy who's a fucking asshole, who's a piece of shit, right? He knows all the terms, he speaks well, but he speaks it so well. He's so smart and evil that he makes it sound like he really understands. The other guy's saying faggot and doesn't know any way to speak properly to not offend these people. But it's where he's from, it's his background. He doesn't know any better. But he doesn't care what anyone does. Anybody can do whatever they want. He doesn't give a shit. It doesn't affect him. He doesn't give a fuck. He's just saying things that sound bad. Okay, that's the important thing to remember here. That guy's the good guy, right? The good guy is Bill. That's the twist. Bill's the good guy. Bill is the asshole in the situation because he may be aggressive, have an opinion, or honestly just said something that was so raw that the other people let their emotions overtake it. I don't know. But that's a guy who just speaks his mind, is flawed, is a human being, but ultimately is for the rights of everyone and doesn't come in with a bias towards women or races or anything like that. He's simply just speaking about people as human beings, as a general thing. He's just a humanist. Seth the SJW, their side is that if you don't see my worldview, if you ignore these minorities, these black people, these gay people, all these groups, you're part of the problem because you don't want to stand up for them. I have to fight for them. I have to fight for them right now and stop you. I have to stop you, men who have been abused. I have to put you down because you're taking away from them. You are the white straight man. You are evil. I have to knock you down. And everyone agrees with that in the social justice warrior circle. They all get together and go, "Yes, that guy's bad because he clearly doesn't follow this narrative 100%. He can't buy the 100% rules." Right? And it's an attack. It's an attack on someone who was abused and was hurt and was a victim, and it's victim blaming, right? So in this hypocrisy, they do the thing that they yell at the people for doing to other people. This whole collective argument, they do the very thing that they talk about hating. This is the basis of social justice warrior. A social justice warrior is someone that pretends that they fight for social justice and equality in these issues, but then when you challenge the very simple uh, things that they've already think they've made their mind up about that 100% are true, once you attack that and they get so emotional and angry, and the anger overwhelms any kind of logical discussion, that's a social justice warrior because they're in attack mode. They're a warrior. Let's say that somebody wants me to go protest tomorrow night to protest some bullshit happening. Like, let's say, let's go protest that judge who let Brock Turner pretty much have a pretty light sentence, right? Bring that up to me. I would go to that protest. I'd be okay, let's go look at that. Let's go say like, hey, this is kind of bullshit. Why did this happen? Right? I can see the logic in that. I don't see the logic in then when you're having a discussion online. When this happens all the time, this is why we made the term social justice warrior. This happens so much. This is what the Lacey Greens and the BuzzFeed do. They use it's the ad hominems, the straw mans, all that. You start an argument, and then their argument becomes emotional, and they just keep reinforcing the reality that you've set for them, and they keep going crazier and crazier into this emotional roller coaster that they feel like they have to fight you, they have to defeat you, you're the devil in their story. They need the bad guy, they have their bad guy in their narrative, because without a bad guy they don't have a story, they don't have something to follow. Now, most people, we don't live in the bad guy, good guy world like that. If you're just a normal, good person, you understand that's ridiculous. That world doesn't work that way. You just have to try to make humanity as a collective better society, civilization with your good behavior towards others, and trying to understand other people and trying to have that conversation. We're past the point where we need to be violent and angry and be yelling at each other. It's not a war. It's not a battle. It is in a way, but it's not physically. It has to go to that next intellectual level where we can actually talk about things seriously and have respect for with each other without thinking that if we block out everyone else that we somehow can stay in that bubble we've made for ourselves, and in that bubble we never have to hear any different points of view, and then we can think we're a good person for the amount of years that we want to play this card out until another movement comes along that we can attach ourselves to. Social justice warriors think they're good people. They need something to make them feel like they're good people. They really need it. They have to have the moral high ground because they're very insecure about their opinions and their morality, and they don't know how to feel about themselves. Now, they may not actually hate other people or have issues with other people. That's the thing, but they can't have that code broken. They can't have that thing, the force field they put around them, shot down. They need it. They need that protection because they are scared like the rest of us. They are lonely. They are upset. They are going through the existential dread of humanity. And instead of trying to do something about it with themselves, they have to easily post a meme or share something, some video that they didn't actually look into the facts about, and then they're automatically a good person. That passes. And then they get crazy about it. They think they completely understand politics. They think they completely understand race relations. They think they completely understand police. They think they completely understand guns. They understand everything. They understand everything about law, the country, everything in a matter of a few weeks, right? And then they're an expert. And then they get to tell you this or that, right? And then you just can't argue with these people. There's no winning this fight. The more logic you throw at these kinds of people, the more things you try to say that explain these situations, uh, just in a very simple, practical way, they're going to keep coming at you with more aggression, right? They're just going to keep coming at you more and more and more because they know they can beat you down, and they want you to come to their level because if they can reveal something, if you say something mean, they'll immediately twist that into they'll twist the knife and be like, oh, look what kind of asshole you be. If a feminist could get you to yell at her, she's going to turn that around and talk about toxic masculinity I've seen that happen to so many. God, so every time somebody goes to a Huffington Post uh, interview, like Gavin McInnes or something, they always get accused of toxic masculinity. There's always that fucking shit. Just because a guy's like angry, yet a feminist, a woman could be on TV and be fucking yelling, acting like a psycho, and we don't talk about toxic femininity because that would just be a dumb thing to say. Some people get angry and worked up, and some people don't. You can't just attach that to some term you made up about an overwhelming. Real toxic masculinity is when men won't listen to other men about abuse and talk to them, because these are the guys that use feminism, took a gender studies class, or all this shit to try and get laid. I'm gonna make it that simple for you. I hate to tell women this. This is one of the worst things women uh, ever hear. They hate hearing this. They never want to hear the truth about this. There's guys out there that pretend to be into the stuff you're into and act like they like it and all the stuff that you think's important just because they want to fuck you because they're men. They have a dick. They want to spread their seed. Now, no, this isn't all men. Of course, not all men do this. But there's different layers of games in sport that men go through to try to get women. Every man has a different tactic. Some men use the game where they're just assholes and upfront and raw and manly, and that can work, this animalistic nature. Some men, on the other hand, though, read about feminism, they read about gender, they read about all these things that they know you care about. They pretend they're into them, they don't actually take actions to fight for them, and they'll attack other men and put other men down, all because other men can come in and twist this. They can ruin this because he needs you. It's the same as that guy that's always there when you get broke up with on Facebook or you're having a bad day and it's a bunch of guys leaving comments replying to you, which I see on my Facebook every day, and they're telling some girl, like, hey, it's okay, I really care, just call me sometime. It's like, 30 or 40 guys. Yeah, they all care about you and they want to talk to you. It's a situation a lot of guys have gone through with their girlfriends where she talks about some guy that's a friend of hers she's at work with or is friends with, and she goes, he's not into me, and he's really cool, he's into this and that. And I'm like, oh, that guy's trying to fuck you. Joe Rogan talks about they're not real. It's a made up person. He makes up this whole fake person, this perfect guy, for you to want to fuck, because there is no perfect person like that. When you keep running into these perfect guys all the time that are amazing, they're playing a game. They're playing a role, and the role is to try to get in your pants, or just get your approval because they want the attention of women. Now this is reversed too. The social justice warrior woman is also trying to get attention of men and either has some attack against men, doesn't like men. There's a lot of this is an attack on men. Now, this is the social justice warrior. The difference between, like, let's say, a feminist who brings up actual issues that relate to men and women and says, let's try to find a solution together, that would make sense to me. If a feminist came to me and said, hey, let's try to find a middle ground here where we can figure out why the male suicide rates are outrageous, why are young men committing suicide so much, and what's up with that? And let's try to get women. Let's try to cut down women getting abused and getting raped and attacked. Let's try to cut that down. Let's try to explain to women that they don't need to spend all this money on hair products and makeup. That they don't have to worry about those vain things. That their value isn't just in their bodies. I think those are important things to teach women. I agree with those things. However, when you use all of those things and the immediate tone before you even go in is that men are bad, this is one of my huge problems with a lot of feminists in the social justice warrior movement. The beginning of the whole discussion is that the man is bad, like the white male is bad. So then when you already start the conversation, you start to have the discussion, that's already set in stone. You have Bill the asshole, right? Bill's already the asshole. You can't win at that point because they're the warrior. They're fighting. They're going to defeat you, and you're the asshole. You're the bad guy. That's the social justice warrior. They already go in with a preset notion of what these things are before you can have the discussion. They think they're a warrior. They think they have to be in attack mode because it reinforces their morality, their good feelings. It takes away their insecurities only for a little bit. It only numbs it. That's why they have to constantly keep doing it. And then because of this, they get support from others. They get those girls who always have on the glasses that are a gender studies major, who has her hair dyed green, has half of it shaved, probably listens to 21 Pilots or something, and then she's going on and on and on about the wage gap and all that shit. And he completely supports everything about that, even though he didn't care about any of this stuff his entire life. But now all of a sudden he's an expert on it. You need to watch out for these people. Patton Oswalt made this up. These people are evil. This is Hillary Clinton. Like, her whole record completely contradicts everything she says. She lies Always. She's always lying. They pretend to be on your side for social justice, like they care about these things, when they really don't. They just care about themselves. It's narcissism. They care about how they come off to other people. It's about them. It's not about others. Because if it was about others, they wouldn't already assume things about everyone and make up their own minds. They're the racists. They think that black people are automatically poor or less privileged or stupid or oppressed by white men, that they don't even just ever see black people as like smart, intelligent, interesting people. These people already have to defend black people. They already put them in a victim box, okay? That's not cool. That means you see them so differently you feel like you have to protect them. They're not a fucking pet, okay? They're people. They're all individuals. What you don't seem to get this. You can't just represent the entire gay community. Okay, you can fight for gay rights and believe in gay rights. You can believe in equality, but you don't represent a whole group. And every time that somebody has an opinion on something or talks to an individual, you can't attack someone over the whole thing. You can have I can have gay friends who say faggot to me all the time. I have so many gay friends. It's ridiculous. I should pretty much be gay. It's something that God, like, it's like he was turning me and then he forgot that last little bit to make me gay. But I have so many fucking gay friends and we all say faggot and gay and make gay jokes, and they're all very pervy talking and all love humor and say fucked up things. All good guys, and I'm speaking gay men. I don't have as many lesbian friends, but gay men, I have a lot of gay friends. They don't get offended about these things, right? But that doesn't mean that the whole group collective of gay people in the country doesn't get offended by things. But when you think you're sticking up for an entire group, when I have a bunch of friends who don't feel your way, you're being the dick because you're yelling at me when in my life I go hang out with gay people and treat them like I would anyone. Like I would call my friend an asshole, or I'd call my friend a dickwad, or call someone a cunt. You give the words too much power, and when you give the words that much power, you, you really take away the humanity in it, that we can have context and different discussions. When you just call people racist, when you just call them sexist without real evidence, you take away the power of calling someone a racist or a sexist. Then the issues are never going to get solved, because we can't point out the real evil people, the assholes, from the good people, because all it is to you is what they say. It's not what they do, and what people do is what ultimately matters most. Okay, and then when you have a voice that influences people, then it's really bad. Then when you're a social justice warrior, you create more panic, you create more hate. Okay, look at some of the stuff happening in Milwaukee. That's influenced by Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter may not have been made to be a hate group or be bad. They didn't want that to be that. They actually wanted to stop police brutality. However, people take it in a negative way and then go riot and burn houses and cars and get told to go attack suburban neighborhoods, white suburban neighborhoods. There's footage of this, of people saying this. This is insane. People take People get into emotional things, and when they have a group mentality and emotional people, they're willing to get violent. Okay, they're willing to go attack people and fight for things, but they have unjustified anger and they direct it towards the wrong people. You're not attacking the government or the system when you're mad at rich white people. You don't go to a rich white guy's house and fucking attack his house. That's not going to solve anything. That's just going to create fucking panic in the streets and civil war. It's going to cause insane. This is all happening in a political climate. Okay, a lot of this is the Democrats and the left, those politicians trying to get your vote. They think if you come vote for Hillary, then all the black people and all the minorities are defeating the evil white man Trump. They couldn't have a more perfect narrative for you to defeat. Trump is your bad guy, and then Hillary is here in the background. But she's the evil manipulator that learned the way to talk to you guys to control this. Where Trump is just a guy saying what he says because he's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's probably a better person than her in so many ways, because he doesn't have this ultimate scheme or plan. There is no plan. Trump's the fucking Joker, man. Hillary, though, man, she's fucking evil. She's Loki, man. She's got a master plan and wants to manipulate and twist things to get what she wants. They're both evil. It's not a battle between the left and the right, man. It's just us, and we have to point out the evil people to find the good people. You can't just be okay with people because they think it's right. I lost a lot of friends because of this. Just the other day, this happened because of this social justice warrior thing. It becomes such an emotional thing that people's biases overtake just actually caring about what someone has to say when they reveal something to you. This is bad for society. this is not good. Now, to respond to this, when I talked about this online, I got a lot of positivity from a lot of women and feminists who came on to support me. But even then, it only, the support comes on. It's just there. But people, it, it's funny. They'll all come on and do that, and you're like, okay, you're good people. You're nice. That's very nice of you to do that, right? You care about my feelings and what happened to me, and you care. And I was talking about how it was toxic for other men to be, not listen to other men about abuse and to think that men can't be abused. But even with that support, I couldn't be won over that the social justice thing was right, that it was always right, because even the support contradicted so much of what they talk about, because they all couldn't agree on what feminism was, right? Except for one person who said completely like, "Hey, I don't adhere to feminism." Everyone else kept telling me, well, "That's not real feminism. Is real feminism is for men and women." But there was three or four different opinions on the thread about what feminism was, and the people who kicked me out of the other thread, they had a different opinion about what feminism was. So, is there a definition at this point? Because there's so many people all with differing opinions that I don't know. That's like telling me, is there one definition of Christianity? Or is there one definition of any kind of ideology you're following? I don't know. I don't think there is. I don't think there can be. And I certainly don't think anyone understands what feminism means anymore. I don't think anyone understands what any of these. I don't know what Black Lives Matter means anymore. They always try to say that it's to represent the black people and fight for black lives, but then they don't care about when people get killed in ghettos or when children get shot. They only seem to care when a white person shoots a black person. And I'm confused by that. Why don't you care about everyone? And why don't you care about people in Africa? Why don't you care about the black children that are starving everywhere? Why don't we care about the single mothers in the black community? Why don't we? I don't get this. That's what I care about. Why don't we try to build more businesses and an economy in black communities and have more police and have more safety and less crime? Why don't we work on that? Or are we so focused on trying to take down the institution rate? You're not going to take down the man or the institution or the government. I don't know what the goal is. And certainly attacking people and rioting is not going to fix anything because you don't have any end goal. You don't have that last demand. Civil rights movement, you get that demand. You get, them being like, hey, we're fighting for our right to be a fucking person. We want to use the same bathroom as you. We want to eat at the same fucking restaurant at you. I don't know what the ultimate goal is right now for a lot of these movements. I don't know what feminism wants right now. I mean, they all say different things. I can't find one single fucking meaning to all this. There's dictionary definitions, but that means nothing because people don't follow it. Their actions don't follow it. A dictionary definition doesn't mean a fucking thing if you don't follow it. So I don't know what any of this stuff means anymore. And this one I'm trying to get at, the social justice warriors, they're bad people. They're bad people that want power and control, no matter what it is, and they'll use whatever means necessary to get that power. They want it to manipulate things. It's all about them. They're not doing anything for you. So when you just fight people that have a good human side, that are smart and can articulate their views when they're not really saying anything that bad. If they make racist jokes or gay jokes or anything like that, that doesn't make them a bad person. You really have to understand. I mean, George Carlin went back years ago and there's a great stand-up bit from the 90s. George Carlin talks about this thing. He talks about he can't make rape jokes, right? They say rape jokes are funny. He goes, I'll tell you a rape joke would be funny. Imagine Elmer Fudd fucking Porky Pig or something like that. And that's hilarious immediately in your head. He proves his point right there. Okay, the exaggeration, where the exaggeration is, that's all he talks about. What you exaggerate is the joke, is the context that doesn't make it racist or homophobic. You're making fun of racism because racism's so ridiculous. You're making fun of homophobia because it's so ridiculous. It's what people who understand humor get. A sense of humor means you have a sense for the comedy in the situation. A lot of people think they have a sense of humor because they read memes on the internet or they go to these websites and they think they get it, but then they get offended by some jokes. If you're somebody who gets offended at jokes, you probably don't have a sense of humor because unless you're offended because you didn't think that joke was funny, like, well, that was just a shitty joke, but you're actually offended on a personal level, that literally means that you didn't sense the humor in it. Now, if you can criticize the humor, what they were trying to say, that's fine. But a lot of the time, you're just offended. You just get mad. Then you don't have a sense for it. There's not an element of you that understands humor. You're not that into comedy. You're probably not that funny of a person. There's a lot of these people, and these people are killing humor. Social stories are almost, they're destroying comedy. They're destroying language and they're destroying real victims, real conversations, real things going on. So we have to stop these people. If you support any of these fucking crazy people, if you think that Lacey Green or the Young Turks or all these places don't have fucking agendas, they do, man. If you think that all these left media moguls aren't trying to manipulate you just like every other media. They are. They all want money. They all want ratings. They all want you to vote for who they want you to vote for to make more money in their pockets to have more power. It's that simple. Don't buy into it. Don't buy into the narratives. Fight the narratives and believe in people and us as a group of people, man. You have to look at that. If you just keep thinking I have to vote this way or vote that way because it closely represents what I believe in, you're never going to be challenged philosophically or challenge yourself or go to new places that might surprise you. You can't just think the same way all the time, man. That's what let religion control the world for so long, and it's bullshit. Okay, I'm so sick of terms like Islamophobia. Yeah, I'm fucking have Islamophobia. I'm phobic towards fucking religions. I don't like religion. I don't like people that believe in religion. If you read the Quran and you believe in it as fact, yeah, I have a phobia towards you because you're stupid. You don't fucking believe in science or something. Of course I have a problem with those kind of people. Those people, they scare me. Anyone does of any fuck. If you're Catholic, if you're anything, if you're hardcore in any kind of religion, I have a phobia immediately because I'm really worried about how you view the world and what you're telling kids and how you view anything. I'm phobic towards all that shit. You can call me a fucking bigot or anything on the yeah, fine. I'm sorry that I don't believe you should live your life. I mean, it's a life philosophy. I don't think you should try to have things controlled in the world around you or influence people based off books written thousands of years ago, where they didn't have science. No, I don't think. Uh, I am scared of those people. Yes, I'm scared of them in all groups. I don't know why there was this modern atheist man. We all were hating on Christians and breaking that down, and then Islam comes over here, which is not a race. It's an ideology, and then every time you criticize it or have problems with Islam or Muhammad or anything like that, you're immediately called like a Islamophobic or you're an asshole. That's a social justice warrior thing. They focus on that one side, like, oh, you're attacking Islam. Okay, you're fucking racist, even though it's not a race. You support Trump. Let's get the battle going. I'm gonna cherry pick quotes from the Quran to make it look good, like Christians cherry pick parts of the Bible, and then I'm going to attack Christians for the same thing. Every time some Christian redneck guy shoots someplace up, it's because of Christian influence in the Republicans. But every time an Islamic person, somebody follows Islam or claims to does, it has nothing to do with radical Islam. Well, you got to pick which one's which, man. You can't have it both ways. What is it? I mean, I think it's all shitty. I think any kind of group think and telling people how they should think about the worldview based off all these stupid principles and prophets and martyrs and all that. Fuck that stuff, man. Kill your idols. You don't need to follow those people. I mean, really, those are not the people that I want running a country or pushing the world of science or teaching kids in school. That's not the. I'm not saying I'm against people who are religious. I'm just saying I don't get why we're all people get so mad now if you have a problem with religious ideas and a culture's built around those religious ideas. I thought it was okay to have issues with that stuff. And that's a social justice warrior thing that confuses me. I don't know what the end goal is. You want less religion, but then you're okay when it's a foreign country's religion because that religion's somehow going to be better than the bullshit religion we already had. No, we just move on. Everything isn't always a serious emotional issue. You take it so seriously and get so emotional that you come off like the asshole. You're the bad person because you lose all sense of reality at that point. There is no reality once you're that caught up in something. Once you believe in it, once you believe the war you're in is completely real, then you can't see the bullshit that who's leading you into that war is sending you into that war so they can get something in return. Okay, stop fighting for this thing that's not there all the time. Okay, look up your facts. Don't just watch a 5-minute video and think that has all the answers when they only show you one point of view, and then you can find other footage that completely shuts down that. Okay, this still happens. Okay, the internet, it's easier to lie now than it was before because you can just post something real quick and it's spread on social media, and a lot of people won't even look up any of the facts. This happens all the time with memes and videos, and then you see that stuff so much you start to think it's real. Okay, stop it. Just stop. You're not some fucking shined on by God warrior who's fighting the oppressive shitty people in the world. Okay, you gotta get rid of that warrior anger thing. That's our old primitive ways that got us to this fucking shitty place in the first place, that where we all don't get along. We have to get past that so we can go into a society where we're more focused on science and education and intellectualism over physical ability. I want that future too, but we're not going to get there with this shit, man. You're killing the intellectual conversation because it can't even begin. You can't even start it. So remember, Seth the SJW is a bad person. This is someone who's just trying to get laid, trying to get validation for their emotions, their feelings, and their insecurities. Bill the asshole may not be a guy you're comfortable hearing talk all the time. You may not agree with everything he says. But Bill the asshole ultimately is the one who doesn't care what people do, is for the rights of everyone, and is probably the least racist, sexist person you know. It shocked you. The people who joke about race and sexism are some of the least racist, sexist people you meet because it's so ridiculous to them because they can't even fathom a reality to themselves where that stuff happens. And you may say it's because they don't experience it, but that's not true. I've experienced abuse. I've experienced racism. I've experienced the hate crime. I've had a gun to my head with a black man when I was a teenager, and he called me like a white motherfucker and stuff like that. That stuff happened to me. But people don't want to hear that point of view because it doesn't exist in their reality. But that's not reality. Reality just is. It's actions. It's things that we can see as an example and like, oh, that's reality. That was said and done. Okay, it's not a war. It's just a bunch of little tiny battles, and each battle's gonna have a different outcome. Don't be a fucking sheep. Don't be the social justice warrior. Just believe in justice and a better society for everyone, and don't be a fucking asshole to other people who just have a different opinion. You're the bigot. You're the racist if you think the white man's bad and you don't believe in other opinions that fight any kind of thing. You may argue about guns and say, well, I don't think people should have semi-automatics, and then you don't actually know anything about guns at all. This happens all the time. You don't actually have any basic education, and you'll just vote on something without this. You shouldn't do that on anything. Nobody should do that about anything. You got to get out of that. You can't believe the narratives, okay? So quit being the SJW asshole. Be Bill. Be Bill. Bill's an asshole. You know what Bill is too? He's a good guy. And we need more of that. We need good guys, good girls, good people. We need less of this, my armor that I put on makes me this warrior. This rainbow armor or something like that. This glowing, shining armor. That's worse for culture and worse for people. It ultimately doesn't fix things when you have too many people like that together. It's not good. Okay, when it's for something in an angry, fighting tactic way, you need to not do that. It should be peaceful and about bringing people together. But when you just yell and think you have to fight and riot, you're not going to solve anything. And when you have to block people out of your lives, when they open up something to you and they think you're your friend for, for years, and you think you know the person, and then they ultimately don't care about you because their worldview can't fit you into it. And that's the ultimate damage that's happening with a lot of the social justice warrior movement, is that people are really losing their friendships and their loved ones and their feelings toward each other for this battle that they think they have to be part of this group. It's not good. So please, let's join together and fight this stuff. And let's all be our own assholes, right? Let's all just be assholes.